And some are strong enough to challenge Yeon-woo directly. He barely holds them back with dragon fear and infernal sight, but the exhaustion is starting to hit. Still, he can't let them loose, because fighting would only make things worse. The farther he goes, the more he feels the eyes of titans and giants on him. At the same time, help from the heavenly world is mostly blocked, only Hermes and Athena still have a clear link to him. Well, and his personal pest, who keeps mocking the gods for not being able to see him, but the protagonist ignores that. Thanks to Kreutz and his divine power, barriers can be raised so MC gets short moments to rest. During those breaks, he reads the memories left in the place and finds something unexpected. The Cyclops brothers cross this level without much trouble. That surprises him, since his own group only made it by avoiding every fight they could, otherwise they would have died. Even so, they finally clear all 10 floors and earn several rewards, unlocking the next hidden area and finally arriving before the gate, Tartarus, the place Brontes never thought he'd reach. Yeon-woo stares at it in silence. This is Tartarus, the prison of the god Zeus, struck down. Even stripped of his power, that fallen being never looked away from the 3 Olympians who brought him down. Kronos, the god of time and death, is likely waiting beyond this point with his followers. What Yeon-woo can't figure out is why the gate won't open. As Brontes explained, a place like this would never be left unguarded. So instead, he has to use Hades' hidden passage. He releases a soul Hades sent to guide him through his realm. When the summon still works, he realizes Hades must have believed he'd make it here one day. He moves through a place built far better than expected, filled with art everywhere. Even Kreutz is impressed by how grand it is. And Yeon-woo finally notices what has stayed with him all this time. It followed him through every hellish gate without a single complaint or question. So he decides to let it stay with him until the very end, trusting it to stand by him no matter what. The spirit leads them onward. Between old statues and relics, the hidden path appears. And at the end of it stands a strange portal before them. Yeon-woo looks over his allies one last time and steps forward. Inside, there's nothing but total darkness. The system warns that the area is too dangerous for players and urges immediate evacuation. At the same time, hostile gazes and evil energy start closing in from every direction. Then the mission suddenly changes. Before moving on though, he feels something else. A heavy stare fixed on the back of his neck, full of distrust. At first it makes no sense, until he realizes those eyes aren't on him. They're on the Black King's shackles. Whatever is watching them feels deep disgust, almost by instinct. That throws him off. But he doesn't get time to think. The ground suddenly gives way under him, and he realizes he isn't standing on stone at all, but on something soft, sticky, and horribly familiar. Then it hits him. He's standing on a titan's eye. He jumps back at once. Sure, he's made a huge mistake. But when he looks down from above, the titan's eye doesn't move at all. There's no life in it, making him think it's dead. He rises higher to get a better look, and finds that no matter how far he goes up, the body seems endless. Just as he's about to use his perception, another presence draws near. He knows moving now would give him away, and the massive being coming closer releases such crushing pressure, that even the gods and demons backing him react. Yeon-woo quickly understands this thing is on Agri's level, so he hides among the rocks and watches a giant leg pass by as if searching for something, and he fears that something is him. That leaves him with 2 bad choices: attack with almost no chance of winning, just to try escaping, or stay still and wait to be found. He hates the second option, so he activates his dragon eyes. But no matter how closely he studies the giant, he finds no weakness. Even so, he feels he has no choice and draws his sword, ready to strike until a voice suddenly stops him and orders him not to move. Not knowing who spoke, he obeys and hides his aura again. The titan decides there's nothing there and leaves. From his hiding place, Yeon-woo then sees a large squad arrive, furious that he almost challenged the giant Perseus inside his own territory. He recognizes them right away as Hades' Legion, the force that protects the Underworld. Dis Pluto. Every member carries divine power, and they fight titans and giants and Tartarus without rest. Kreutz is with them too, clearly relieved to find him alive. The protagonist admits he's not exactly doing great, though he figures Kreutz already knows. He's right. The Legion saved Kreutz the same way. That makes one thing clear to Yeon-woo. Even if his pride hates admitting it, if that really was Perseus, their clash would not have ended with a simple hit and run. That's why the Legion's leader treats him like a reckless fool. Still, MC first wants to know who he is. The man introduces himself as Rai, commander of the 19th Legion of Dis Pluto. Rai asks if he used Bronte's guide to get here. Yeon-woo confirms it. The commander is glad they managed to save someone their lord had asked them to watch for. He wants to meet whoever sent them, guessing it's Hades, since he has a message from his wife. That clearly surprises Rai, who tells them to follow him somewhere the giants can't crush them. As they move, the protagonist keeps studying Rai with interest. Even with everything he learned from his brother, he's never heard of this man. Still, Rai's level is clearly that of a transcendent, far above him. Donwoo isn't sure whether Rai matches his master, but what confuses him more is this. Even after reaching that level, Rai still hasn't become a god. So what's stopping him from crossing that line? Rai starts to feel uneasy under MC's stare, though he tries to ignore it. That only makes the commander more irritated, and he bluntly says he can't stand players. Yeon-woo understands why, and Rai doesn't even try to hide it. To him, players barge into a holy war zone like it's some perfect farming spot, then leave after clearing one hidden stage. Rai sees this battlefield one even the gods must respect as far more than a place to grab a skill and run, so he assumes him will be just another one, making the 10 men sent to find him a waste of time and manpower. At least, Rai says, the protagonist does have useful information about the Cyclopes and Persephone. The protagonist takes that as a very clear warning, and from Rai's short temper, he figures the war is going badly. Even so, they keep moving, until Rai suddenly stops everyone when Persephone as himself appears, almost excited to find them. Rai tells the others to run while he holds the giant back and buys time. The clash is about to begin, and Yeon-woo does more than just watch. With every authority from the gods and demons blocked, all he has left is Dragon Awakening. He hopes that with Ignis Wave and his spirits, he might be able to endure. But before the battle starts, huge bolts of lightning crash from above and strike the giant in the face, blinding him for a moment. Yeon-woo watches in confusion, guessing it has to be a god, and with lightning, Zeus would be the obvious answer. But the one who appears is Hades himself. The eldest of Zeus' brothers came down into these depths because of this war. The king of the Underworld can unleash with one swing of his sword, a massive power that tears through the giant's arm and leaves him crying out in pain. Yeon-woo freezes under the pressure of Hades' presence. Still, his cool head holds long enough for him to realize that even against the giant, he'd only need to push his dragon eyes to the limit for a chance to find a weak point, but Hades has no such opening at all. Right then, Hermes sends him a message, saying he's a huge fan of his uncle's warrior side just like Ares and Hercules. Athena also sends one, telling Yeon-woo to ignore Hermes. Still, seeing Hades rule the sky with that overwhelming presence makes it obvious why he holds such respect in this world. Even so, Perseus still dares to challenge him. To Hades, that's an insult coming from a pathetic giant who only got bigger by feeding on Kronos' corpse. So he decides to crush that pride in the most direct way possible. In a movement so fast it's hard to follow, he slices a huge wound along the giant's side. From that cut, the strength Perseus stole from the Titan starts draining away. Then a dark energy appears that Yeon-woo can't understand. He suspects it's the same force that let Kronos tear through Tartarus. Even so, it feels strangely familiar, just like the cries twisted by the Black King's pain. Confused, Yeon-woo watches as Hades finishes the giant off with a single slash. But that dark essence rots away and escapes, drawing Hades' annoyance. He instantly turns his eyes to MC and in less than a second appears right in front of him. The pressure alone leaves him completely frozen, as if his soul were bound in place by Hades' presence, so intense that even his calm starts to melt before that god, and that only makes him angry. Furious that he's being overwhelmed without being able to answer back, he pushes time difference to its limit, driving it through his whole body and forcing every cell to its edge. At last, he manages to stand firm before Hades. That earns the approval of every divine being supporting him. Hades is surprised to see his nephews there and even the oddball of Garrus. But what really catches his eye is that Yeon-woo carries the legacy of the one who must not be named, and as he draws closer, the shackles ring out with endless rage and burning pain. Hades watches with clear interest, finding Persephone's messenger far more entertaining than expected, along with his unusual group. He even glances at Kreutz, who can't lift his head in front of him either. Then Hades sends the whole group back to the temple. With that, Persephone's mission ends and Yeon-woo receives her blessing, authority, and a divine item. He figures that after delivering the message, she now knows about her husband, so he can move on without worry. But a new mission appears right away. Before checking it, he looks over the Ring of Living Souls. Persephone's only reward in exchange for news about the man she loves. The item restores fatigue and grants soul rebirth, which can purify the colors of a person's soul. It also has soul growth, a power forbidden to ordinary mortals, but one he can now awaken. He uses that new awareness right away to ease the pressure on his soul from simply being in Tartarus, the same problem that the same strain is hitting Kreutz, but his divine sword makes up for it much like the ring does. As for the rest of the rewards, he still can't use them because he lacks the authority for it, just like Persephone warned. Like the other gods, she doesn't have direct access to Tartarus, so he has to wait until her husband allows it. That's why his new mission is to help Hades end the war that has wrecked Tartarus, and get him back to his temple and his wife so he can claim the rest of the rewards. Wasn't part of the deal with John, so he feels tricked. Even so, he understands what it means to want to be with someone you love so badly that even a goddess would trust everything to a mere player. So he doesn't plan to complain. Besides, he already had another reason to help Hades. He needs the Cyclopes to fix his pocket watch. That brings him to the lower edge of the Underworld temple, which is completely ruined, not what anyone would expect from one of the three great temples. Hades notices where he's looking and seems surprised that he hasn't asked anything, despite being clearly curious. Yeon-woo studies him, trying to read what he wants, but Hades is hard to grasp. Other gods were blunt, or at least acted in ways that matched their nature. The being before him isn't just cold or mocking. He's far deeper than that. Hades cuts in and tells him to ask if he wants, but carefully his main driving force is trade, not compassion or trust. He only cares about fair exchange, so every answer will cost information in return. Yeon-woo agrees and thinks carefully about what to ask. He sets aside the question of why his powers won't activate, since he already knows this place has no link to gods or demons. So his first question is simple. What was that first being he saw when he entered this place? Hades sighs at the question, saying he should have paid better attention, but confirms it was Kronos. The answer stuns Yeon-woo. He now understands what became of the primal god of Olympus, the one who heard a prophecy that one of his children would overthrow him, and found no better answer than devouring them, until his wife rebelled, raised Zeus in secret, and Zeus finally defeated him. Kronos isn't just the source of Olympus's myths, he's also its greatest monster. Hearing Hades speak of him so casually, Yeon-woo drops his main theory that this was the Black King. He's left shocked that a being that huge died here, and Hades instantly reads that thought. He explains what happens to the god of time and death, when time itself is taken from him, leaving him exposed to his question in return, wondering whether Persephone told him anything else. Confused, the protagonist says she only asked him to find Hades. That visibly relieves Hades, surprising Yeon-woo to see such an emotional reaction from a god who seems so cold, especially when his only real concern appears to be his wife. After that brief exchange, Hades gives Yeon-woo the floor again. This time he asks how the war is going down here. Hades says it's not really a war anymore, just a small resistance inside a ruined Tartarus. In fact, things have stayed like this ever since Hades arrived centuries ago. The reason is simple: giants and titans, once far weaker, started feeding on the fallen power of Kronos, little by little that let them push back Hades' army. Until now this temple is all that remains of the old order of Tartarus, which is now ruled by the very prisoners it once held. Yeon-woo finally gets why Dis Pluto is in such a bad mood, they've basically lost. Even so, he worries about what happens if that ends, and what it will mean for the surface. But now Hades has a question of his own. Seeing MC still here, he realizes he didn't come only as a messenger, and wants to know why he's staying. Dis Pluto answers honestly, he came for Kina, his divine relic. As they keep moving toward Hades' throne, Hades tries to figure out what he wants with Kina, then smiles when he realizes, Yeon-woo doesn't even know what it really means. If he truly wanted it, he'd have to inherit everything Hades has, becoming his avatar and the leader of all his followers. With that in mind,